What is going on, YouTube? It's number 4 coming to you, kicking down the door. Board 9. Let's get into these conspiracies, man. Let's do it.
Also known as the Colombian Exposition. It took place over an area of over 690 acres and was up and running for 6 months from May to October of 1893. And just look at the beauty of it. Wow. It truly looks more like it could be Rome or Athens. Good time to mention that they built all of this in less than 3 years, including all the canals, the lagoons, the statues, the parks, the bridges, the walkways, and of course the over 200 buildings. Now, all of this was deliberately built to be temporary. They don't look that temporary to me. Only 5 buildings of the fair stand today. One of them is the Palace of Fine Arts, which was rebuilt with permanent materials in 1933. Which gets me to think, how does a building that is designed to be temporary and last 6 months stand for 39 years and is then rebuilt in permanent materials in a year? How? Of the other 4 buildings that survived, one of them is still in Chicago. The other 3 buildings were somehow transported to Brookline, Blue Mounds, and Poland Springs. How? Well, how in general is the only question I have in mind looking at all of this. There's also electricity. In 1893, this entire fair was lit up. So the one question I have really is, how did we do that? And were those buildings possibly there before? I honestly don't know what to say. I'd love to hear your thoughts, but I'm just puzzled.
Hey man, if you're tuning into episode number 3, you know exactly why I played that. Let's get into another clip, man. Let's keep it going.
These are scenes from Kansas City, Missouri in the late 1800s. And what you will see here in many of these photos, these massive muddy streets with piles of displaced mud and clear signs of massive excavation work still ongoing. The older photos of Kansas City is rich with evidence of the mudflood, but this same scene can be found all over. The scenes of grand, much older looking architecture amongst people digging out streets for a city that was only founded in 1850, and around this time a population of around 55,000. To me it seems like one big dig site, like the unburying of old ruins. I mean, just look at some of these pictures. You can see these impossible stoneworks. People posing in front of these massive blocks, looking almost deformed bricks on incredibly overgrown forest right above it. Does this look at all new to you? This looks like the unburying of an entire castle. Just imagine all of this massive excavation work being done across the city with a population, they say, under 100,000. Certainly looks like a city in ruins. A city impossibly older than they tell us. History is nothing more than a set of lies agreed upon. Question everything, friends. Until next time. These are scenes.
Those years, like 1871, there was actually, I'll show you quick here, actually. Up here in Canada, it was the year that they did the provinces became a thing. In 1871. If you go to Washington, D.C., you have the Organic Act of 1871. This is the year, actually, District of Columbia was created in 1871. These are like really interesting years. If you compare that with what we just heard about the Kansas history, did something happen that caused things to be reshuffled and restructured? Who knows, right? We only have the historical narrative to go off of. But anyways, let's get back to the TikToks.
Can anybody tell me why the city of Paris looks so empty in these old photographs? It looks like nobody's around. And yet, we see these majestic buildings Now, of course, as years go by, we see more people. But tell me something. Do these look like the type people to have built all this infrastructure? Where are the workers? Where are the great trucks full of materials? Where's everything? You don't see that. But what you do see is people living life to their fullest. There's very few of them compared to how big these buildings are. What happened? Well, these buildings were found and not founded. The Great Reset happened all over the world. And in Paris, this was the new population.
As always, let's move on to another clip and let's keep it going, man.
True. It changes everything. According to historical records, the first ancient civilization known to us is that of the ancient Sumerians. The Sumerians existed over 6,000 years ago, predating the Egyptians by 1,000 years. They resided in a region known as Mesopotamia, which encompasses present-day Iraq and parts of Iran, Kuwait, Syria, and Turkey. The Sumerians referred to themselves as black-headed ones, or black-headed people, and held a belief in gods known as the Anunnaki, described as children of the earth and skies. Some researchers speculate that the ancient Sumerians had a remarkable understanding of the universe, as depicted in artifacts showing the solar system with planets orbiting the sun. Adding to their intrigue are depictions of ancient handbags and bracelets. The Sumerians made groundbreaking inventions, including the wheel, alphabet, and the calendar we use today. They also developed irrigation systems for farming and established a system to measure time in seconds, minutes, and hours. Some believe that knowledge was bestowed upon them. The Sumerian civilization appears to have been one of the most advanced of
that machine.
This is what the Anunnaki said. Yeah. This is how you know that these are not made up things from people's imagination, because everything is too factual. Like this necklace, right?
Right.
People online were like, yeah, is that Buddhist or that's this or that? It's none of that. Like I just try to find the answers to things. So
Is that a ship wheel?
I designed this because this is that thing that you see that all the Anunnaki guys that have that look like a wristwatch, and they always have it, and you're always trying to see what that is.
Yeah, what is that?
It is a time, and it's a compass. It's a timekeeping compass.
That's what that is?
Yeah. So that's what made the carrier of great importance, because he was able to do.
In 1902, the Masonic United States changed the phoenix on the Great Seal to an eagle after 120 years since 1782. The Great Seal Pyramid identifies the 13th degree of Masonry, the Royal Arch of Enoch, builder of the Great Pyramid. 1902 Phoenix Transit began the Masonic elite's final 138 years. They know and have long been preparing for May 2040. Few Americans realize that the Great Seal of their nation was the Phoenix. They have always assumed it was the eagle, and it's not. The change from the Phoenix to the eagle is not without significance, but even more so because it happened very quietly and with almost no publicity in the year 1902. The Masons know well the geometrical dating of the Great Pyramid, what it contains, what it does, what it means. At least the upper echelons, the elites in the Masonic orders know this. The three-dimensional geometry of the Great Pyramid forms the number 10, the Tetratus, and this is well known in Masonry. What's not so well known is that all four slopes, each slope of the Great Pyramid is at 51 degrees. 4 of these slopes is 204. Times 10 is 2040. This Tetratus embodies the number 10, So we have a geometrical dating right here in the Anno Domini timeline as 2040. Those who would hold that this is entirely too arbitrary must take into consideration that the Anno Domini calendar is a retrospective calendar. It is not a calendar that had a beginning date at any definitive time in history, but was invented because of a story. Anno Domini means year of the Lord, but it's not the Lord you're thinking of. In 19...
Overwhelming evidence that we are far from the most advanced civilization and that our history is nothing but a lie. Like, they really try to tell us that this temple in India, Kalisha's temple, was carved with a chisel. This was all one solid rock at one point, and it only took them 5 years. They really try to tell you that. Like, come on, man. What kind of technology did these people have? They also try to tell us that Lashan giant Buddha in China was carved with a chisel. Bro, look at the fucking detail here. Look how big this thing is. You really try to tell me that this was done with a chisel? I truly think that giants used to roam the earth, and they were the ones that built these magnificent structures. Like, bro, giant doorways, giant footprints, iconography of giants, like giant skeletons, giant axes all over the world. And the technology used was probably only known by the elites. Let's also observe some of these statues from our ancient past. This is all made out of stone. How did they make it see-through? We can't do this shit. Bro, look at the detail in this statue. Like, we can't even come close to this. You're telling me this was done with a chisel? There is absolutely no question that they are hiding the real truth of our ancient past from us, more than likely to keep us dumbed down and ignorant to our true potential. Look within, like the Buddha, to find the real truth to this reality. Peace and love.
What is called the helicopter hieroglyph. This name has been given to part of an ancient Egyptian hieroglyph carving from the Temple of Seti in Abydos. The objects depicted are very out of place and cannot be explained. One of the objects looks exactly like a helicopter with what looks to be rotors and a tail fin, which hence the name helicopter hieroglyph. Another object in the picture looks like a saucer-shaped vehicle with a tail fin. Also, what looks to be possibly a tank or a submarine can be seen at the top right. The object at the bottom right seems to also have a tail fin and a rounded cockpit. To me, though, the helicopter hieroglyph is the most intriguing.
All right, you know what? We're going to leave it there. Thank you very much for checking it out. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm going to come out with episode number 5 tomorrow. Shameless plug time. You guys know from each and every episode. I am an online candle shop as well. If you want to go out and check out any of the candles, help support the brand, help support the business, I'll drop a link below. Look out for another short coming out tomorrow. Once again, thank you very much, and you take care. Peace.